Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Vallen, and this is the new Minecraft mod Roots by Elucent, a wonderful mod maker who has brought this brand spanking new mod to the brand new world of Minecraft in 1.94 and 1.10. So let me give you a brief glimpse into the world of Roots, which it's a very earthy feel to it. I mean, there are lots of things that you can do with this stuff here. But it's primarily, at its core, a farming mod. But not in the way that you might think. It's a very highly magic mod, but it really encourages a lot of development of farms and processing your plant's life, as well as exploring because of the different flowers you'd need and different ingredients for each different item in order to make and craft the stuff that you need. So, enough about just kind of hinting at it. I'm going to take you on a brief walkthrough on what this is, how to get started into it, how to get kind of into the middle game, and then I'll probably follow it up with another video or two after that. So, let's get started. Your first step is going to be to find an old root, and by doing so you'll need to just punch grass. Oh, an old root. There we go. Might take you a bit. I think it's like a 1 in 40 chance upon breaking grass, and upon doing so you're also going to get seeds and poppies and dandelions and other stuff like that, and guess what, you're going to actually need those later on as well, so you might as well grab onto them and keep them. And if you're desperate, these things, you can eat them, and they'll give you back a half of the a hunger food pop. So that can be very useful. I actually was so desperate at one point when I was testing out this mod that I did eat some old roots until I could find a sustainable food source. So on to the next part here. Let's see, I have an axe, and with it I have an oak tree with oak leaves. This is something you're going to want to find, because when you chop down an oak tree, over time there will be different drops that happen, and whether you wait for it to degrade or you break the leaves yourselves, you should get some extra drops besides just your standard saplings or apples. You might get things like these little berries. Now that was probably the poorest drop I have ever had on any of the trees that I have chopped. Now, not to worry though, because you're going to need wood when you start off anyway, so when you chop the wood, you'll get different things. Now, there are things like elderberries, which will give you 1 hunger pop, so that's pretty useful, as well as white currant, which will give you 2 hunger pops. Then there's red currants, give you 2 hunger pops back, plus it will heal 1 heart, which is great. Those are really, really good. Those are probably the best ones. And then black currants are just like the white currants. They will heal 2 hunger pops. And then there's nightshade. Remember, nightshade is deadly, because you'll get 15 seconds of poison if you eat that. And it actually resembles elderberries as well. So just remember, nightshade is not good. But the other berries are just fine and can help you out in a pinch. So while you're harvesting all your wood, you should be getting some basic berries to help you sustain your food supply. And you can eat these and regain your health in the process. Now, moving on from there, because, well, those are very handy just in general, but we have here the first item that we're going to want to make. Remember there we got seeds and flowers and an old root when we were just, well, rooting around in the grass and dirt. When you mine up your first piece of stone, you're going to want to smelt that and make yourself, in a crafting grid just like this, a Runic tablet, which is, here it is, got it, Runic tablet. It's basically your instruction manual. You shouldn't need anything else for this mod, but I'm sure that you're interested to see what there is next to do, and that's what I'm going to show you. So By clicking on here, you'll have all sorts of pages. I recommend starting on the Natural Arts page if you're going to start anywhere, because if anything, it's going to explain to you some of your basics, like your rare materials, the different powders, berries, rooty stew, healing poultice, which I'm about to go over these ones. There's some of your basic starting stuff. Even the bark harvesting is starting, but it's not really used until you get into some more incense stuff. Then you've got like your different spellcrafts, which is more or less using magic staffs or staves, as it may be, and you craft them. Each one will allow you to make one spell that is imbued with it. Then you've got your like weapons, armor, special spells, and rituals. Weapons and armor. It can get really, really cool stuff. But this is more higher tier stuff. So we're going to more focus on the natural arts at the beginning. Now, often when you're first growing stuff, you're like, all right, well, I get lots of seeds, and it takes you a bit for your wheat to grow, and there's only so many trees that you can harvest for berries to keep your food going. And if you need something, you only get like one wheat is harvested, and you're like, oh, I need more than that to make bread. I need like 3 in order to make bread. Well, not to worry. You just take one of your old roots, plus 1 wheat and a bowl, an empty bowl, and you get yourself this. Let's see if I can grab that. Come on. Got it. That is Rooty Stew, which will replenish about 3.5 hunger pops. Regrettably, it does not stack, so it's very similar to mushroom stew. But it's very cheap. I mean, you just punch grass to find this, and 1 seed eventually will yield you that. Obviously, you could just do the bread if you have 3 of those, but if you're desperate, you could, or even if you're not, you have another option. So, moving on from that, we have a mortar and a pestle. Now, the mortar, of course, is just some smooth stone, and you can place it in the world and put things in it just by right-clicking. Very simple, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I have, to show an example, used it aesthetically as well. I mean, it makes a really cool little food dish that you can put things in, whether it be Sir Doddington III's dog bowls or my little kitty cat's fish bowl over here, whatever. But it's pretty cool. But besides the aesthetic part of it, it can be very, very, whoops, I kind of overshot that. Very, very useful, which we will get into that shortly, but I figured I would show that off because first we'll actually need the pestle, which is made from dun 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 andesite. That's right. We never use andesite for anything. It's kind of ridiculous there. Whoops, I just kind of, or excuse me, not andesite, diorite. My apologies. But we never use diorite for anything. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, we now have a use for diorite, but this is pretty much it. This is the only thing that it really makes is a pestle, and it doesn't wear out, so you can reuse it over and over again. So yeah, it's not going to use up all the diorite that you find, but hey, at least you got a pestle and a mortar, and even if you try using it on there, it's not going to work the way you think it is. It's a little bit more advanced. We'll get into that in just a moment. First, some more basic stuff here, and that is a healing poultice. This is something else that's in your runic tablet on the, where is it? There we go, natural arts here. And if you look down here, healing poultice. This is really simple and really effective. It's like a healing potion of sorts that you make from some paper, some rose red, using a pestle that you get back, and some of these verdant sprigs. Now, verdant sprigs you get by harvesting your plants, any crops. It does not work with sugar canes because you can restack the sugar canes on them, but if you have like full-grown beetroot or wheat or something like that, you get about, what is it, 1 in 30 chance, I think it is, of getting one of these out of that, and it'll heal you, which is, it's great, so it encourages you to grow and harvest your crops so that you can get these healing poultices, which will heal you for 2.5 hearts. Plus, you get 2 of them for this recipe, and it only uses up 1 piece of paper. You'd think that it would use 2 papers, but I think you just need half. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Now, going from that into something else that is also displayed on the runic tablet is the, not the mutating powder, the growth powder right here. Now, growth powder, it is kind of, redstone, which means you'd have to get very low on the mining area that you need to get into. But, I mean, hey, if you want it, it's a convenience item only. It is, let me see if I can, there we go, got it. It's going to allow you to put grass on dirt. There we go. That is pretty much it for its use in the world. Otherwise, you use it in specific recipes later on. But otherwise, it has a use of its own, and that is turning dirt to grass. Now, let's get into the next part here, because we pretty much covered everything in here. Mutating powder is something that's going to come much later, so don't worry about that. We're going to get into spellcraft. Alright, so spellcraft. First thing you'll want to probably get into is, well, if you look here, we've got the mortar, which it explains on all of these just by clicking on the icons how they work. You can just click on the pages and it explains everything. It's very, well, intuitive, I have to admit. It's pretty cool. But you'll want to make yourself an imbuer, as you've already made yourself a mortar at this point, or at least I showed off a mortar. Now, an imbuer, well, it looks like this in the inventory. When you place it down, looks like so. It's just made from a couple pieces of wood, couple sticks, and a chiseled brick. There you go. Simple enough. 2 stone brick slabs above each other will make you a chiseled brick, which it's not going to be the only time that you'll want to remember that. But there you go. That makes an imbuer. And this is going to be, now it does kind of resemble a campfire, but it's a bit more magical than that, as you can see here. Now, it is designed to make your magic staves. And there is kind of a functionality to how it works. First, I'll explain, and then we can go over there and visit Timmy. Hey, Timmy. So, with this, there are ingredients you put into a pestle, or into a mortar, and then you smash it with your pestle, turning it into powder. And then with that, you put it in here, in the imbuer, with a stick, and it will imbue the stick, making it a magic staff. So, to start with, let's pick a spell. I have here, well, there are modifiers in Terra. I will explain those as we go. We're going to pick a spell, and then we're going to go from that. Insanity. I like this. So, it's red poppy, speckled mushroom, not the brown mushroom, and a piece of beef. All right, let me grab those. Okay, so, I'm going to make 2 different versions of this spell. First, I'm going to throw in a poppy by just right-clicking on here. The beef and the mushroom, and there you go. We have some items. Now, I could try and use the pestle, but watch what happens. Nothing. It just gives you back the item that you last put in. Now, what you're going to need is one of these. This one of these, not all of these or multiples of these. You can't do that. It won't let you. It will actually kick out the extras. So you have to choose an old root, a verdant spring, an infernal bulb, or a dragon's eye. Now, each one of these has different properties. An old root is the easiest to come by. You just break grass and you throw it in there. It says no modifiers. So we are going to use the old root. Now, of course, it has its own bonus of you can eat it to regain hunger pops and make stew with it and so on, but it is no modifiers, and you have a 1 in 40 chance of getting it from grass. So put that in there, and we'll smash it with a pestle. I'll go over the others in a moment, as that'll be the next spell we make. So right-click, and there we go. I now have petal dust. Put the petal dust on the imbuer with a right-click, and put a stick on top, and ooh, magic stuff happens. There we go. I now have a magic staff. Now let me get some volunteers. Alright, I now have some zombie eggs on my hotbar here, but we'll show those off in a moment. We're going to use the next level staff that I'm going to show you. This one here works similar to a bow. You hold right-click, and you'll bring it back. And you'll notice I have leaves above the hunger pops now. And when I let this go, magic happens, and the leaves slowly they disappear briefly, and then they come back. The Terra is kind of a cooldown bar in this aspect. So if you're casting a really massive spell with one of these staves, then you may have to wait for that to replenish before you cast again, because if you keep doing it, then it will eventually run out and you won't have enough of your cooldown or your stamina bar to cast it again. Previously, this was using hunger, but I think this was the mechanic that was put in place to replace that. Now, if you notice, it also has a durability. there's 52 uses remaining, as I've been constantly using this. Now, Insanity works on a targeted enemy or a mob, so I'm not targeting any of those guys, and they're not close enough even if I was, so not to worry. But you notice it says +0 potency, +0 efficiency, +0 size. It does also tell you the type is Insanity, and the color markers on the staff will help identify it, because when you hover over it, it doesn't currently say staff. Remember, this is currently in kind of an alpha beta release here, so you're going to have to take it as it is. Plus, Minecraft 1.10 only just came out. But with that in mind, you can have an upgraded version of this depending on the materials available to you. Now, we've already talked about the Verdant Sprig. If you put a Verdant Sprig in there instead of the old root, it will allow you to add in an extra modifier, allowing you to upgrade the potency or efficiency or size. Now, you can also add in an infernal bulb instead of either of those two, and that will allow you 2 modifiers, or a dragon's eye, which will allow you to add in 3 modifiers, which is the maximum on there. Now, each one of these is obtained in different ways. Verdant Sprig, as I had mentioned, you get 1 in 30 chance every time you harvest a fully grown crop from the ground. This might pop up as well. Now, the Infernal Bulb, you get a 1 in 20 chance of harvesting fully grown nether wart. And Dragon's Eye, you get a 1 in 10 chance of getting one of these from harvesting chorus flowers, which are in the end. So you know how these are a little bit more difficult to come by. This one, not so much actually. If you can get to the nether and get yourself some nether wart, or find an enemy that drops it, or a chest that happen to have some in it. But each one also has their own abilities. This one typically is used for healing. Of course, I showed you it can be used for a healing poultice. Now, this one here, the Infernal Bulb, has an extra special property, and that is the ability here. There we go, and I'm just going to fly over the glass here, and the chorus, or not the chorus, the Infernal Bulb, when put into a furnace, acts as a fuel source. And I put one in here with a full stack of regular potatoes, and it cooked 12 of them. That's right, it's a little bit better than coal. So you can put it in there, and it will cook up things as a fuel source. So it's pretty darn good. Now, alternatively, the Dragon's Eye, when harvested, has its own special abilities. It can be smelted into, as you saw there, ender pearls. But of course, if you're in the end, you have access to ender pearls as it is. So, but it also has an effect where if you eat it, it's similar to a chorus fruit, where it will give you some regen on your hunger, and it will teleport you a little bit. So that's kind of cool there. Now, also, the Infernal Bulb has another ability, the ability to wither a skeleton, which I'm not going to show you this time, because it's currently not working at this moment. But probably in the next video, I will show that off to you, and we'll see how that goes. But I believe that it will either turn him in. My personal thought is that it's going to turn him into a wither skeleton, but we'll see. So, with those in mind, I'm going to grab this one here, and now I am going to add in some modifiers. Now, the modifiers, all this is explained in your Runic tablet. Don't forget. See, we've got modifiers up here. Are pretty darn cool. You have redstone, which will lower the cost and give you more uses of your staff. So, for instance, it may start off with, let's say, 64 uses. And if I put in a level of redstone, it might increase that by, I'm not sure of the exact numbers on there, but let's say 25% or 50%. So if you add in a couple redstone, then it would probably increase it like 50 or 75%. And then if you put in 3 redstone, then you could increase it by like 100%, giving you like 120 or 150 or something like that. It could be quite a bit. But that's the idea. So you can double these up. You can also mix and match modifiers, but you can only have a maximum total of however many modifiers, or whatever modifier you use, or modifier bonus you use, which is like the Dragon's Eye, the Infernal Bulb, Verdant Sprig. The old root does not allow any modifiers at all, but it is also cheap. So the glowstone will increase the potency or strength of the spell. And typically what this means is that if I use this Staff of Insanity, its power is to turn enemy mobs against each other so that they won't attack you as the primary target. You'll be their secondary target. But if I use this, I have a chance of it happening. Now, if I increase the potency on this with glowstone, then it will increase the likelihood of it working with a single casting, and I don't have to continuously recast it to try and get it to work. Now, the gunpowder is used to cover a bigger area of effect when cast. So if I am casting it currently on one mob, it should work in a bit more of an area covering possibly 2 or 3 or several. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of each of these in there, and because why not? And then we shall go play around with some zombies. So first, let's put in the ingredients for this same exact spell that I just made. Alright, here we go. I've got my beef, mushroom, poppy. And then I'm going to put in, and it doesn't have to be in this order, they just all need to be in there. I'm putting in the dragon's eye to give me 3 modifier slots, and I'm actually using one of each. You can mix and match these as you like, but I'm doing this just because I can show you this easier. There we go. I now have my petal dust. Put it on here, add a stick to this, and then it should pop out a new magic staff. And you can see here this one says +1 potency, efficiency, and size, and 97 uses remaining. So there you go, compared to the other one, which I did use several of it. I believe it starts with around 64 on there, so it gave about 50% bonus, somewhere close to there. It's pretty cool. Now I'm going to switch to an axe just in case, but let's go spawn ourselves some zombies here in this little underground area that they shouldn't burn too easily in. And then we'll try messing around with this new staff of ours. Alright, and cast. And there we go. They are all attacking each other. Zombie mania. You see, one of them wasn't actually attacking. He might have attacked me instead. And if there is only one... zombie fight. If there is only one, he will attack you. It's not going to do anything because there's no other targets for him to go after. So you're going to want to make sure, take him out. But if you're in a big group, one of these insanity staves can be very, very handy. Among others, there are a lot of them in there. Let me grab my Runic tablet here. There's a lot of spells in here, and I'm not going to go over all these today. I'm just giving you a sample of each of the different mechanics. There's, each of them's based around a different flower that's required, or fruit or item. You see there's like an apple, the lily pad, the poisonous potato. Finally a use for a poisonous potato, right? But some of them can get a bit more expensive. You've got glowstone, so you have to have gone to the nether. Then you've got one like here. This one, it requires some ender parts, or you have to have gone to the end in order to obtain that one. Then you've got your specialty flowers like your radiance and so on. You have to perform specific sequences and rituals in order for that to work. Now, like I said, I'm not going to show that today. I'm just showing you the basic mechanics and a sample of each area. Then later on, I'll probably come back and do some more videos on this, explaining and showcasing all of the different abilities, especially as more and more will be coming out, according to what Elucent has been saying. Now, moving on along, we have the next step in our druidic journey, and that is rituals. Rituals are where it's at, in my opinion. I like the magic staffs. They allow you to cast simple spells with an item, but you can carry only so many, and there's no way of recharging these. Once used up, they are gone, and you have to make some new ones. So getting into the rituals may later on help offset that. But for now, let's just explain a little bit about what's going on here. Once again, another chiseled block. You're going to need a block of gold, so it's a bit expensive to get into this, but it is a little bit higher tier stuff. You're going to need some smooth stone, more of these sprigs here, the verdant sprigs, a red poppy, and it'll get you one of these, a casting altar. And it works really cool. It can hold up to 3 items that will float on it. Now, if you try adding a 4th item, like, I'll add the staff. It drops one of the items, so it's not going to work. I could try putting that in there, then adding a stick. No, It drops an item. So it's only going to hold a maximum of 3 items. And that's what you'll need in order for a ceremony to take place up there. I'm going to leave that there for now. Now, and that's a casting altar. With that, you'll probably need incense braziers. And these are made with some iron, a lot of iron actually, because you'll also need a cauldron and a piece of string. And this, if you notice, the cauldron kind of acts like a little pot, and the string is like kind of draped over. It's really cool. I like how this model was done. But you put an item in there to burn. So you're not going to want to put a stick in there. You're going to want to put bark in there. And how do you get bark? Well, you need a bark knife for that. So in order to get a bark knife, you can harvest practically any tree and make one. It's really great. The mechanic on this is ingenious. It's just a stick, a piece of any of the standard vanilla woods, as well as any of the vanilla saplings, including you can mix and match them. Will make you a bark knife. Let me grab one of these here. And it is used very simply by means of you just try and, right click, and you'll get bark from it with a chance of breaking the wood. And you see in my inventory, I now have oak bark. Then, of course, there is spruce bark, and you've got, you can see here, it's a random chance. I'm just holding the button down and spamming this right now. Any of them, and that one just happened immediately. Some of them you get more from. It's just a random chance. And you can see I have all sorts of bark now. And these can be used for incense. That's what it's used for in here. So let's go on up to my altar space here, and I can show you a little bit more about what is going on with an altar. This is a really cool setup. So I have placed down an altar in the center, and I put down some incense braziers where I wanted to place them. They don't have to go there. There are certain mechanics that you may want to keep in mind as you advance in altar magic. For instance, let me grab this. Don't worry about that, but you see that there is this large pattern below here. What this is a layout explanation of where certain objects go when you're doing an altar. Now, some of them when you start off with, like living tools, which is what I'm going to show you, don't require any setup. It just needs incense and an altar with these 3 items. So, let's make one of these items. Alright, so I've already got oak bark, so I'm going to just put that on my hotbar. Let's get these things off of here. In fact, let's get rid of that too. You're going to need a flint and steel, and then the ingredients for this ritual. And in this case, I'm going to make myself a living sword. There we go, living tools, and let's go to that, which requires a wooden sword of all things, a verdant sprig, a gold ingot, and 2 pieces of oak bark in incense, or being burnt as incense. So you can see that it just in there above the crosshairs, there are the little pieces of oak. And I'm going to put the wooden sword, gold, and verdant sprig in here. Now, if you put too many things on, or you have too much stuff going on, you might mess up the spell. It might not work. Take everything out, restart again. So let's see, flint and steel. We light these up, and they have a finite life, which means they will not last for very long. Then sneak right-click with an empty hand, and you start the ritual. And there you go. It will take just a few seconds, and it will make a brand new weapon for you. In this case, there we go, a living sword. Pretty cool stuff here. Now, how these work. All of the tools are made in a similar fashion. This one here, for instance, if I kill a mob, let's say a zombie, and I use it, you see there I have set myself on fire by letting him hit me. But for instance, I hit him a few times. There was a durability loss on the sword, but you notice it's repaired again. It repairs itself over time. So, it's a living sword. That's the benefit of it here. Now, in this case, there it goes. It's fully repaired again. So you can see it also is the equivalent of An iron sword, 1.6 attack speed, 6 attack damage. 1.6 attack speed, 6 attack damage. So it's extremely similar to all of the iron weapons and tools already at the cost of 1 gold. Plus, they will replenish their own meter, so therefore you can use these instead of your iron weapons, and they'll last you a lot longer at the cost of a piece of gold. Really, I mean, I'm not even counting the costs of the other stuff, because it's not even worth mentioning. I mean, like a wooden sword, come on, really, it's pretty bad. But this is just the beginning of it. I mean, there is a lot in here. You've got your growth rituals, which will give like a bone meal effect to a large area, like a 35 block radius around this. So if I had this a bit closer to my field over there, it would give a bone meal effect to all the crops in that area. Then you've got your standing stones and enhanced standing stones that you put in these areas. They look like this, as well as this. And you can see that they have different effects and abilities that can help you out to heal or just be mundane. But yeah, and as you progress through this mod, there are quite a bit of things that you can do, especially like even better armor, as you may have seen over by my house over there, and weapons that are available to you that you can upgrade as you see fit, depending on how you want to do it. So that is pretty much this mod in a nutshell at the moment. So I look forward to digging deep into roots in the future and showing you guys a bit more. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up, share the Mischief with others, and don't forget we've done other tutorials and Let's Plays on this channel. So until next time, folks, I'll see ya.